on the Medina to Ravenscourt Road, which is around 42 kilometers. So the dry season intervention in terms of asphalt pavement incorporates one of asphalt-related roads. New road infrastructures that will commence this dry season as well. Capital to Toolstown is 40 kilometers. Toolstown to Zuedru is 85 kilometers. John Davistown to Kelipo is 61.5 kilometers. Barclayville to Sastown is 50 kilometers. St. Paul Bridge to Clay along the Tottenham route is 53.5 kilometers. And I've announced here before at the press conference that as you see us lay out as 4 lanes on Freeport, the lanes will continue up to Clay. We hope to eventually reach that road to Tottenham, which will be a massive 4-lane road. But we are also aware that from Clay to Waterside, beginning this dry season, the expansion of that whole road to a 4-lane road will also begin. So when the Public Works Minister said at one point that during this dry season, there will be an octopus kind of road work taking place in the country, that's exactly what he meant. So it's also here Clay to Waterside, that is around 95.5 kilometers. They will start some actual construction pavement work on the Von Jima to Menikoban Road. They will do some pavement here also around town. Allison Street, the Ministerial Complex, bypass. They will do what they call chip seal. It's not dusted, it's not asphalt, but it's a seal that can last for many years. And you drive on it also looks like you're driving on a Kota road. Jatono Town to Broadway, that road will be paved with rigid concrete cement. New Georgia Estate to Basel Town Road will be paved. This dry season, those are new interventions. The Lightland Road, Rock Crusher Road, Bikina City Street sidewalk construction will also take place this dry season under the auspices of the Ministry of Public Works. All the roads I just mentioned are all paved roads. They are not dusty roads. So there are some dusty roads. We call them gravel roads. As they're doing the pavement, those ones will also be maintained during this dry season. The government has proven something. Many persons are not paying attention to what you see. Like the other day, I think 3-4 days ago, there's a former finance ministry official who was somewhere in Rivergy. He was welcoming the arrival of the MTA bus, celebrating that MTA bus, even during this time of the year. It's reaching Rivergy at the cost, according to him, $5,500 Liberian dollars. Of course, that was a road that people used to pay up to $20,000 to $25,000 for when the roads were not possible. So what the government has been able to do efficiently, consistent with the president's commitment, that we wouldn't have cars being stuck in the mud, is that he's been able to make the roads, the gravel roads, possible, even though it's raining. When we went to Bikina to bury my sister, we buried outside of Bikina City. And as we were moving towards that direction, somewhere around where BRE used to have the headquarters, at this time of the year, that place was never possible. with an MTA bus that was hired to take us, drove and reached the village and back safely. So all across the country, places where we have dusty roads are possible. If no car have gotten stuck up to now, and if the roads are still accessible up to now, it means they will remain accessible and no car will get stuck, because this is the final stretch of the time for rain, September. When you get to October, there's no serious rain. So rain has just come down, then it stops. Doesn't cause any damage. So basically, the works being done on the gravel roads have survived the rainy season. And don't forget, the process of transforming them from the gravel roads they are, the paved roads are continuing. And with the commitment of the government, which we will continue to announce, we hope that by 2029, when the government time ends, all of our political subdivisions will be connected with paved roads. So let's see the gravel roads they're also going to be working on during this period. Greenville to Bois-Chicla. If I don't get it right, don't blame me. I'm not from Southeast. I'm from Grand Bassa. Kawikin to Bochikin. Kulawun intersection to Vahun. Pe Gamayan Raja Town. Kulawun Junction to Yalahun. Yalahun to Vahun. Fuya Highway. Tututa to Jisosu. Jinosu to Bonota. Bonota to Phoebe. Tututa to Lele. Batala Tilotan to Bawolota. Giotan to Moe. Turetan to O Yapie. Kawiken Junction to Dwakin Jabokin. These are all gravel roads that will see strong intervention so that they can remain passable as they are currently. Will those start just to roads? No. During the dry season, there will be bridge construction and maintenance as well. And amongst them will be the rehabilitation of the Clay Ashland Bridge, the repair of the Yonken Log Bridge, the rehabilitation and spot repairs on the St. John River Bridge, the rehabilitation and maintenance of Monrovia and Painesville City Street with asphalt patching will all continue this dry season. And of course, alongside those roads, you will see the physical construction taking place for the two overpass bridges for which we get programs. So you see, we have a very busy dry season, massive interventions. So the naysayers can continue to say nothing happening. If that's what makes them happy, let them keep saying this so that they can be happy. But we want all of our citizens to be happy. In order to increase access to safe drinking water, the Liberia Water and Sewage Corporation has made a number of gains. Based on the government's plan for 3,500 new household connections to safe drinking water in 2025, the LWSC has done 2,006 new water connections within its network in Monrovia, in Bopolu, in Rabosport, in Saniquile, and in Voingema. And the remaining work will be done before the end of the year. Out of the 10 kilometers for the 48-inch water pipeline that is being installed coming to Monrovia, 4 kilometers of the pipeline has been completed, meaning they got us 26 kilometers for completion, and the work is ongoing to cover the 6 kilometers. With all the materials for the project in country, the Water and Sewer Corporation says work is progressing steadily to strengthen Monrovia bulk supply. The work taking place on the 48-inch pipe will replace the old 36-inch pipe, which is outdated. The focus is not just on Monrovia, but the rural parts of the country as well. The government of Liberia has released the first tranche of payment for the construction of the water supply systems in Greenville, Sano County, in Plebo, Maryland County, and in Zwedru, Grand Gila County. The Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation has treated 873.1 million gallons of water, and it represents water treatment in Bopolu, in Monrovia, in Ravasport, in Saniquile, and in Voanjima. 12 new water coasts were rehabilitated and reconnected to increase water supply. A total of 47 new sewer connections were done since January this year, while 308 manholes were cleaned and has significantly reduced the flow of sewage waste in the streets of Monrovia. We have all been following the situation in Nima County, where there were some violent actions because the motorcyclist was murdered. The government firstly condemned the fact that there are criminal elements in our society that are targeting young people who are trying to use very honest means of making a living. These are young people who are creating jobs for themselves by being bike riders. But there are some bad people among us who are not just targeting them to take away their motorbikes, killing them. Recently in Buchanan, another bike rider was killed. The 2 individuals who committed the crime were arrested. They confessed their involvement. And then with the other situation in downtown, the government condemns that. But the government also calls on the bike rider, anybody who may be of interest, that when these things happen, let them not use violence as a means of seeking redress. So in the case with Ganta, the police initial funding conducted with suspect Jonathan Dan and Amos Buayu of the same address, the LPRC community in Ganta, were arrested by community members in Bunadin town trying to sell a Bajaj motorcycle. Revealed that the Bajaj motorcycle found with them does not belong to the victim, Jackson Rowland, who was murdered or allegedly murdered on Sunday night in Nimba County. But instead, the motorcycle belonged to another complainant, Arvin Quichi, who had earlier reported to police that his Bajaj motorcycle had been stolen 2 days before the incident. So you see, sometimes that's why mob violence does not solve a problem. Because the reality then unfolded, the 2 individuals who were in jail, who the protesters were demanding to be brought out to be killed because they wanted to have instant justice are now actually the killers of the individual who died. Because the dead person family came and they said, no, this is not what our family had. We know his body. This is not it. But yet these individuals are also called selling back, which they are stolen for someone else. And the assumption from the community pool was because they saw them selling the bag, that means it's the bag of the person who was killed. And because they knew that they were in police custody, they demanded that it be placed out to be summarily killed. So imagine if they succeeded in killing them. They would have killed two persons who were not associated with the crime for which they were protesting. So the two suspects are now ongoing investigation to establish how Irving's motorcycle was found in their custody as the investigation continues. But the good news is calm has been restored in Ganta. Businesses have resumed operations and the citizens are going about their normal businesses. The Liberia National Police will continue the process of making sure that they find the killers of the cyclist so that justice can prevail. As part of the government of Liberia's desire to reduce rice importation and boost local rice production, the government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Agriculture, has commenced the disbursement of funding to 500 farmers across 8 counties under the Public Sector Investment Project, PSRP, the national initiative to boost rice production and reduce imports. This is the first direct funding from government national budget to farmers since 16 years ago. This year, which is 2025, avocados and coconut production. Farmers will cultivate 1,000 hectares of lowland rice in Bomi, in Bong, in Grand Basso, in Grand Cape Bong, Gibi, Lofa, Bonswaro, and Nima counties. Each farmer will receive US $1,000 per hectare, with 60% of direct cash support for land clearing and preparation and nursery development, and 40% will go towards weeding and harvesting. Additionally, the farmers will receive inputs such as fertilizers, seeds, and pesticides. The PSRP support to farmers is more than just financial aid. It is a long-term investment in food security and a better livelihood for farmers. The Liberia Immigration Service has launched thorough investigations into fraudulent schemes involving the issuance of resident permits, re-entry permits, and visa on arrival documents. The fraudulent activities are threats to national security and government revenue. According to the Liberia Immigration Service, the fraudulent activities are being conducted through unauthorized channels, depriving the state of vital income and compromising immigration integrity. The Liberia Immigration Service describes the scheme as an act of economic sabotage, stressing that both companies and individuals implicated in the document fraud will face severe legal consequences. To address the problem, the immigration authorities have begun a comprehensive review of its application and processing system. Key reforms will include strengthening system integrity, improving efficiency for legitimate applicants, closing loopholes exploited by fraudsters, establishing an authorized agent registry to accredit legitimate consultancy firms and agents. Additionally, the LRS has directed all employees, resident permit holders, and visa applicants to engage only legally recognized consultancy firms or agents on processing immigration documents. Such firms will be required to take full responsibility for all transactions. The authorities have warned that failure to comply will result in the cancellation of documents or outright rejection of permits that are deemed fraudulent. Even though these are news already available to you, but it's important to note that as people always crying for bread and butter issue, the government is taking actions. You are aware that the president took action based on recommendation from the Special Committee on the Economic Situation of Price Hacking, led by Vice President Cohn, to reduce the wholesale price of rice and flour, and as of yesterday included the cost of eggs, which is now being produced also in the country. The carton was costing around $60, but the presidential directive is being reduced to 50. The Ministry of Commerce is warning that there will be strict enforcement, and that businesses that will take interest in testing the resolve of the government in finding solution to the price situation of our citizens will eventually have themselves to blame. And the last thing I want to close on, but before then, the Liberia Maritime Authority, towards building human capital, they dispatched 22 Liberians who are students to pursue higher education in different maritime fields at the Regional Maritime University in Ghana. The action marks the first time in the authority's history that such a large number of students are being sent in a single cohort. The beneficiaries, who were selected through a competitive recruitment process, will undertake studies at both undergraduate and graduate levels in fields critical to maritime and the shipping industry. These include ports and shipping administration, international shipping and logistics, environmental management, renewable energy engineering, and maritime engineering. The initiative reflects Liberia's commitment to strengthening the country's human capacity building in the maritime sector and ensuring a steady pipeline of skilled professionals to support national and international shipping operations. Of the 22 recipients, 19 will pursue postgraduate studies, 11 males and 8 females, while 3 students have been admitted into the undergraduate programs. Among the postgraduate scholars are Kennedy, specializing in environmental management, renewable energy engineering, shipping logistics, areas that are considered increasingly vital to sustainable maritime development. And finally, as I was about to say, can serve in government if you believe in God. It's either you come from the mosque or you come from the church. If you are a church goer, it is required of you to know and understand the Bible. Because you see, salvation is personal. No pastor will take you to heaven. No bishop will do it for you. Because salvation is a self-initiative. So the fact that we go to church and we submit ourselves to pastors, to bishops, and all of that does not suggest that our salvation rests in their hands. And because we too understand the Bible, we know that even the Bible calls on people to respect authority. Just as we respect leaders of the church. Because we are supposed to give to Caesar what is Caesar, and to God what is God. And the primary reason why the church exists is to lead people to heaven. I guess it's the same with Islam. You want people to obtain salvation. So the focus, the messages, everything that you do as a leader of a church or a mosque should primarily be geared towards winning souls for Christ or for God if you are a Muslim, and leading them to heaven. It appears some, though called by God and are in those roles, are paying less attention to that responsibility they have as shepherds and are busy wearing political garments. Somebody will just wake up from their house in the morning and say, the Wagga officials are mean, selfish, and what? There are three things they say in Rome. Lazy. Mean, selfish, and lazy. That one I'm preaching. We respect you. We are members of the churches. We are members of the mosques. You respect us too. You must not live in the same place. And I just say myself because I just want to use myself as an example. So how do you know that I mean? Or, okay, if I'm giving something to people and put camera behind me, what most of them do? They're going to give us small soap to put big camera behind them to show that they're doing good to people. Do you know what we pass through, what we do? Talking about me? Or because we're not broadcasting it? What is the definition of the official being lazy? Or selfish? What kind of scientific survey you've done? Or sometimes you say that you want to be heard. So you just throw disrespect at public officials, just hear all what they play and say things against them, never put to know you around. And this has become a constant habit of the former president of the Liberia Council of Churches, Reverend Kotobukan. He has no regard for people in public service. He gets up at will and just throw walls at them. So with later he's going to be strong. How many areas in Liberia have you extended our church with you on you ever since we did it? For that strength. When you go all around the country, you see a Baptist church somewhere, you see a Methodist church somewhere. Where else do I go to see new water in the desert church besides your area? That's where your strength is supposed to be. That's where you're supposed to prove that you're strong. Say we lazy and you strong. You're not selfish. So I get in your church, nobody can pay offering and tithe. But every time they go to church, you get them free money, free food. You don't take no offering from them. That same Bible you have behind to just be throwing walls at people says, before you tell me to remove the Lord from my eyes, I gotta look at yourself and remove yours first. pay attention to winning souls for Christ. Or lead a church where be a politician if that's what you want to be. There are constant attacks. There are issues that you can talk about as a church, you are true. Nobody stops you from doing that. We know that there are some bad things taking place in society that you can talk about. The church can talk about that. But you're attacking individuals. Local government officials are mean, selfish, and lazy. Why inform that reckless statement? We have to stop. Or put the church camera down, join the politics. Let's see you as a politician, then we'll treat you as one. Don't force us. Because we are Christian, like I said, we are either Christian or Muslim, and we are mindful. The scripture says, touch not my anointed, and do my prophet no harm. The prophet too will not be doing people harm. So you won't be doing harm to people lead that church, but they come as a politician. Because it's a normal thing. People are being politicians, yeah. The current president of the Council of Churches, for example, ran in one election as vice presidential candidate. It's not a crime. But find your spot to come there. Don't hide behind the pulpit and be attacking people. I will not say more than that. But I know you will come again. Then me too will come. Sorry.
Good afternoon. The Honorable Minister of Information, Honorable Superintendent, the Deputy Ministers and Assistant Ministers of Information, Honorable Captain, and ACP Padre Kamazu. We want to be this morning or this afternoon grateful to God first for His saving grace. And we give this morning our sound and rightful minds. We want to thank God. Thank you for that. We want to extend our thanks to the President, His Excellency Joseph Yimamwaga Sr., for the confidence reposed in the team. I also want to say a big thank you to the Minister of Justice for his support since last Thursday. We have not come here to re-emphasize the challenges facing the agency. As you all are aware of the challenges facing the Labrador Drug Enforcement Agency. But to reaffirm this team's commitment to a safer, drug-free Liberia, and our plan to improve the agency with strategic changes designed to create a more robust, accountable, and responsive organization. On the last few days of our taking over, we have focused on two thematic areas. First, some of the issues are happening at the Labrador Drug Enforcement Agency. Our assessment have proven that they are either a weak organizational structure or a responsive team to respond to this crisis. So we are engaged in structural and organizational reform at the Drug Enforcement Agency. The first major area of our reform plan focuses on addressing integrity and credibility issues by firstly mandating a random drug test for all personnel of the Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency to ensure that those who are fighting drugs crime are not also ones abusing those substances. This action is indicative of our plan to revamp the institution's human resource capacity and fully develop a credible, professional, and reliable workforce. In so doing, we have informed all officers of the LDA to fully cooperate, as non-compliant attitude will not be tolerated by this team. As part of our desire to engage all stakeholders, as you know, the agency cannot take the responsibility by itself or on its own. We have begun dialogues and collaborations with some governmental, private, and civil society organizations. We focus on prevention in other areas with specific needs. A strategic structures and policy review committee have been instituted at the agency to review structure and policies with focus to train and develop a manpower capacity and provide in-service training for employees, as we expect the continuation of the basic recruit training process inherited from our predecessor. As the need to increase the strength of the agencies cannot be overemphasized. Currently, we don't have a specialized tactical response team at the LDA. The agencies that are fighting drugs cannot have just men moving. So one of our plans, one of our key objectives is to establish a specialized tactical response unit that will be well equipped to respond to this situation. We are looking at developing other priorities, include the calling and communication system within the LDA. We need a standardized communication and calling system within the LDA. And when you see LDA personnel in the field, you identify him distinctly as an LDA personnel, well visible. We look at uniform issue of the LDA. As you be aware, personnel with LDA, some of them are in t-shirt, some of them are in jacket, and some of them are in other uniform clothing. We want to have an organized uniform system within the LDA. We want to look at the salary issue. If you have a personnel fighting drugs, if you have some of them taking home salary of 200, 150, we have to pay attention to the salary structure of the LDA. Currently, the personnel, Mr. Minister, the personnel at LDA do not have insurance coverage. There is no health and medical insurance and life insurance for personnel who fight in drugs, who pay sacrificing their time in the rain and in the sun. When they are sick, they go to their little income and take themselves to the hospital. When they have dependents and spouse, so we have to pay attention to the organized medical and life insurance coverage for officers within the LDA. We want to look at the fleet management policy of the LDA. To respond to this, we need a functional fleet system within the LDA. Drugs and alcohol issues. We need to review, we partner with a legal team to review and look at the drugs and alcohol policy in this country. Recently, the Ministry of Health announced the restriction on shisha and tramadol. When policy statements are made there should be a strategic framework to execute that. Currently, we don't have a strategic framework to execute that. So in incoming days, we'll partnershiping with the Ministry of Health, Ministry of Youth and Sport, Ministry of Internal Affairs, Ministry of Commerce, to look at how we can develop a framework to implement this policy. We want to have a standardized procedures in the LDA to respond to incidents. Operational guidelines to ensure that our response is consistent with policies and procedures. Our evidence handling are consistent with protocols and best practice. And our prosecution support. So today, we wrote His Honor, the Chief Justice, to give a leverage to the LDA in accessing a court warrant for such a seizure. The second thematic area is to improve and reinforce our operational capacity. Like I said from the beginning, we want to establish a tactical team, like what we have in the police, the emergency response unit, or the police support unit, well trained, well organized to respond to drugs issues. Drugs issues around the world is a tough war to fight, to fight. And the minister said it's very difficult to fight drugs. So we're going to have a team that is responsible to do that, to be able to navigate through cartels and dismantle drug networks. In the last few days, we have developed a strategic 90 days operational plan, working with communities, civil societies, organizations, and other partners in at dismantling drug trafficking networks, demolition of ghettos and criminal hangouts, and the suppression of substance abuse within our borders. As you're aware, the president mandate is 90 days. So we have two responsibilities: to look at the internal administrative structure of the LDA and to dismantle criminal network in drug trafficking and abuse. To achieve this, we are encouraging our media colleagues and all stakeholders to include the Liberia National Police, the Liberia Immigration Service, the Fire Service, Customs, and all national security apparatus and institutions to join ranks with the LDA in securing the future of our children now and the unborn. Let it be known that the upcoming operations of the LDA will know no foe nor friend. We will drastically deal with any individual or group of individuals that will want to undermine this fight against drugs. Thank you.
Good afternoon. The Honorable Minister for the Ministry of Information, the Honorable Labor Minister and his team, the newly appointed interim management team at the FUA Evaluation Division. Minister, thank you so very kindly for giving Montserrat County the space on this national platform to speak to our people. And all of you who are holding your different media gadgets here are other citizens or residents of Montserrat County. I gather to speak to you all and people from Radio Land on two cardinal issues. To just say to you, Montserrat County involvement in the fight against drugs and substance abuse, and to present to you the Montserrat County that we have today. Let me begin by appreciating the President for setting up a committee, a multi-sectoral committee on drugs and substance abuse that's headed by the Minister of Health, and the special presidential directive that was issued by the Office of the President. And let me also thank the organizers of the Say No to Drugs campaign for taking up a very bold step. Let me also say thank you to the recent past interim management team at the LDA. I think they too started something work. And we have absolutely no doubt in the sophistication and the new vision and innovation of the new team. We recommit ourselves as a county authority working with them. We have been working with the multi-sectoral committee. The Ministry of Internal Affairs, at the Ministry of Health, where state actors were involved around the table, so that we all together will develop a clear roadmap of how we achieve our objective for the against drugs. We didn't just stop there as a county, as superintendent sitting around that table. We also worked with the chair of that committee and were able to convene a meeting, a technical meeting again with the 21 council commissioners of Montserrat County, the 6 mayors, our district superintendents, and our governor, our board governors, and they paramount among the conversation that were held with the local government authorities and the technical team is how we can strengthen collaboration down the community level to support the community leaders and community residents in the fight against drugs. One thing we have to mainstream, in that which we maintained our local government structure, is that as we move for the message that says no to drugs, we also have to mainstream that message. We say no to violence. In order for us to achieve that, we have mandated our local government actors to convene community meetings, to encourage community leaders and their residents to stop the mob justice. We know so very well that all of us, we are so touched with this drugs issue, and that when you just hear about it, you want to just jump on that person and get them down. But there is an authority established by law that has to get that job done. Our responsibility as local government actors is to make sure that we provide the necessary information to the legal authority so that we're able to enhance their work and be able to do their work effectively. We like to call on our citizens in Montserrat County to be law-abiding always, work with the security apparatus, and let be able to identify the different drugs cartels in Montserrat. Let me not forget, when discussing this thing in Montserrat, but there drugs. Yes, there in rural Montserrat, the drugs are sold at illegal mining sites. In the urban Montserrat, the drugs are sold in buildings, school buildings, new buildings, makeshift shops, in the very communities that we live. Our responsibility is to identify that and do a whistleblowing, but be careful with our own security. Because we just listened to the interim head of the LDA who have advised us and informed us that this battle is a battle of much seriousness and a commitment because of its intense security nature. So we have to again recommit ourselves to the fight against drugs and substance abuse, and we call all of you. And let me appreciate the media for the good work you've been doing. Some of you have developed different angles different programs and activities that you've been airing on the various media outlets for us to expand the awareness in the fight against the drugs and substance abuse. I'm told in a couple of days from now, the multi-sectorial committee on drugs and substance abuse will be presenting an update to the office of the president, for which we all will pick up as a unit to be able to refute. Muscle County. This county is widely believed and is said to be the first county in the Republic. I want to call it one of the first few. And is perceived and assumed by a lot of residents and citizens of Muscle and even in other counties. And the county administration is well supported. Programs were supported, development projects were supported. Imaginary work. We'll have to seize the opportunity to present to the people of Muscle County and the people of Liberia the saga of Muscle County. Thank you, Mr. Minister, for giving us this platform. This is a platform we've been using for so very dearly. When we took over as superintendent of this county, paramount among our responsibilities as superintendent or local government actors is to maintain ordinances, city ordinance, township ordinance, borough ordinance. And our responsibility is to inspect different businesses and homes and make sure that they are conducive for business, and then ourselves who have to make our offices to be of standard. So the first thing we did was to make sure that the administrative building of Muscle station in Bento having been tested for more than a decade for us to do a renovation to that, equip it, furnish it, and make it conducive for business. We didn't just stop there. We moved to all the township. And good about it, most other people here are either a resident of a township or a city. You can do a fact finding and see the before and after. Since we took over the different work that we've been doing at the different local government structures. There is a new law. I don't want to call it new because it's been in existence since 2018. The Local Government Act of 2018. The act restructured local government. Clearly states the functions of the different offices in local government from superintendent to current chief, into general chief. It speaks to the different structures. That is administrative. It speaks to how development projects and development activities should be guided. It speaks to how these projects should also be funded. We have done extremely well, significantly well, in restructuring Muscle County as a structure. And I'm interested to know that let me inform you here at this press conference that Muscle County, before we took over, were either existing just by name. There was zero structure in all the townships, zero structure in some of the cities in rural Muscle, and zero structure and effectiveness at the county administrative building. We've been able to restructure that. We've been able to develop a development plan as enshrined in the Local Government Act of 2025 this year, 2025. That was presented. Lack of funding increased the work. We just on this week presented our 2026 development plan to the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and that's why we are here to solicit support for that plan. And we have no doubt that all of you here who are residents of Muscle and citizens of Muscle also will help us. Funding. We'd like to inform all of you through this video that there is a very, very uncomfortable working relationship with the county structure and some national actors. And this is key. The Muscle County is a county like other counties. We have our offices in the capital of the county in Bento. We have to use this opportunity, using this national platform, to appeal to national actors, head of government ministries and agencies, that have the Mossy Rado County chapter to kindly move the chapter to Bento. That is the administrative city. That is the sixth administrative seat of the county. You cannot have the Mossy Rado County office. The Ministry of Health is based in is outside the capital, and almost all of them. We have to move to the capital. We are appealing to them for the demand. We will establish a relationship and work in Tapo. So we just appealing to them to move their offices. Some of them have one room in Monrovia, in the ministry. Some of them have two rooms in the ministries. Move the office to Bender. We will provide the space. And that will make our work very effective and efficient. We also like to inform all of you, look, there are institutions that are established. There are institutions that are established, and they are established by the laws that are enacted by our legislature. I'm not questioning the wisdom of the few of those laws in the past, but I think something much better could have been done. Because some of the concessions that were passed, if the concession was situated in some of the counties, in Basa, in Nimba, in Bo, that were paying a lot of support from the concession to the county. But if Mossy Rado is zero, the APA terminal is a concession in Mossy Rado, and the people of Monrovia, zero contribution to Mossy Rado. And all of you here knows very well that Senator just being in, passing their iron through one country is even one country around 500,000. Fasting Liberia is passing over rubber through Mossy Rado to the people of Monrovia and giving us $0. APA terminal is seated right in Monrovia using our port $0. The people of Monrovia is right here. I'm not saying National Port Authority. The people of Monrovia is one of the four ports under the National Port Authority. It's situated right in Mossy Rado, $0. There is no relationship. There is no relationship between us and the public. Somebody multinational businesses that we now refer to as public-private partnership and an agreement signed. We have worked after that for days. We can get it. Lastly, let me just say to you that the county, Mossy Rado County as a county, we do not have a functional service center. The county service center. And that county service center was intended to reduce the responsibilities and burden from national government to the local government, to give our people effectiveness in the provision of basic social services. And the good thing about it is that it's an agreement that says 40% of revenue generated from the county service center stay in the county. For Mossy Rado, there are now ministries and agencies who are doing that work for Mossy Rado. They are providing the services in Mossy Rado and do not have county service center. Now a county treasury. We'd like to conclude by appealing to the national government to hasten. Chapter 4 of this law speaks clearly to revenue sharing. The condition of somebody major thing revenue sharing, and I'd like to say also that all the countries have the different uniqueness in terms of economic, opportunities. For Mossy Rado is commerce and trade. We are appealing to the national government. We are appealing to the national this is the message we want to take from us. We are appealing to the national government for us to speed up in setting up the local government fiscal pool so that the government, and this is a major thing we want to say on this platform, that national government speed up in appointing the local government fiscal pool so that Mossy Rado County can begin receiving her fair share of the revenue collected from different cities and different councils so that we can want to support our different programs and activities in Mossy Rado County. Thank you.
Before the Labour Minister comes, let me just add that Madam Eve Wama from New Georgia Gulf, who opted to chop off the fingers of a 10-year-old girl for mistakenly allowing her baby, who she gave the innocent child to hold for, has been transferred to Central. You know, society is getting more and more evil. A woman who could get pregnant, keep the pregnancy for 9 months, and knows how difficult it is to carry a child in your stomach for 9 months and then go through the pain and delivery and all those things, will look at somebody else's child and chop their fingers off like you're dealing with an animal, is cruelty to the highest extent. It's been established, the police just updated me that child is not even her child. The child is from compound number 2. The child's parents heard the story, they are in town, and she has been transferred to Central. People got to stop all these wickedness. Where can the humanity go? You see, what is happening to the society? So we've been assured by the police to be investigated and dealt with consistent with the full extent of the law. We look forward to them doing that because people can be that wicked. If you want to look at somebody, a small child finger, and then try to chop it off, you can look at him and kill him. Not afraid of wasting bloods. Mr. Minister.
Mr. Minister, Deputy Assistant Minister of the Ministry of Information, the Superintendent of Multilateral County, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we are happy to be here to share some information from our ministry with the public. I'd like to start with the good news. That good news is to talk a little bit about our vacation school for the just the vacation that is about to end now. The last time that we were here, we informed the press and the public that the Ministry of Labor will be carrying out vacation job opportunities for deserving students or students in general. We were targeting, at the time we informed you that our target was around 1,000 students. But we've completed basic day now. We are preparing the students for payment, and we were able to help at least 1,305 students who benefited from our vacation school scheme this year. 170 students were assigned at different ministries. For example, Ministry of Labor, Ministry of Commerce, Civil Service Agencies, Ministry of Education. Those are areas we assign students, and those students, the total of those students that were assigned different ministries were like 170 students. There were also students that were sent to different companies around Maserado and other areas. That was a total of 635 students. 635 students were sent to different companies and concession areas to work. Then MICAT put up assisted students, up to 500 students also benefited from the vacation job from MICAT. So that made a total of 1,305 students. We did not receive any complaint of any misbehavior from the students, and I think that was an encouraging sign. So it means that next year, the companies and institutions that these students worked will be encouraged to help more students. That's the good news of it. So again, we look forward to, I want to also thank our partners, different companies that were able to assist our students. I want to appreciate that in a special way. We hope that they will continue to help us during the vacation. This is very essential for our young people. We also want to mention here that we administer the labor law. One of the things that have been very somehow popular, I don't want to say controversial, but been popular talking about is the work permit issue, work permit that we issue to foreign workers in Liberia, alien workers in Liberia that work for different companies in Liberia. The past years, the fee on annual fee has been 1,000 US. But we noticed that yes, I mean, people pay the fee. I know there's money that we're collecting, but there's a need. The government now thought that there's a need to review that and make an adjustment in the work permit fee for alien workers in Liberia. So, through the Ministry of Labor, the government has approved an adjustment in the work permit fee up to $1,000, $3,000 per annum. Instead of 1,009, they have been increased by 2,000. So the total amount per annum now, effective immediately, would be 3,000 US dollars per annum for alien work permit, for regular work permit. There are other categories of work permit that will be dealt with later, like gratis, like ECOWAS work permit. Those are being reviewed right now. But the one that the government has made decision on is the regular work permit. Like, for example, you have engineers and things that are brought into the country to work for, say, Metal Steel, here Mountain. Those people pay 3,000 now, effective as of today. And as we get to review the other areas, we will come to the public and let you know. And like one of the things we like to also say to our business partners, and with these adjustments, with this adjustment in the fee for work permit, we're encouraging these companies to also prioritize the hiring of Liberians. Because we notice that some of the people that are being brought into the country to work are doing jobs that Liberians are supposed to, that Liberians are capable of doing. So we encourage them to contemplate now in the hiring of Liberians in these concession areas. And the fact that we kept the number the fee very low for some time, we're all intended for them to have transition plans where Liberians will transition to these jobs. So we hope that they will consider that, and let's have more Liberians in these the different concession areas. Another thing we'd like to talk about is that we are reviewing most of the listing of alien workers in the different concession areas. One of the companies that we just concluded the review is Beer Mountain. We just concluded Beer Mountain, and we discovered that there are some workers that we have resolved not to renew their work permit. In the Beer Mountain area, we resolved we're not going to renew work permit for 357 of their casual workers. Because we think the category of work that these people do are those work that we think Liberians can do. So 357 workers of the Beer Mountain company will not be renewed. Will not renew their work permit. And we encourage the company to try to now consider hiring Liberians in these jobs. Very important. We encourage them to do that because we think it costs you less if you get Liberians in these jobs. You pay less, cost you less instead of bringing foreign workers in Liberia, and you have to transport them by ticket. On our law, when you are bringing foreign workers in Liberia, you are responsible by their air ticket back and forth. You are supposed to find accommodation for them. And if we brought them on contract, once the contract expires, we have to repatriate them the same way by providing air transport for them to go back home. This is what happens. But if you hire Liberians, we think that Liberians are right here. You don't have to buy a ticket. You don't have to look for accommodation for them. Most of them, sometimes they find their own place to stay. So we want to encourage our business partners, especially those who hire these foreign workers, to look forward now, look closely at hiring Liberians in these positions, in different concession areas. Encourage them to do that. And another thing we're doing, just for the public, is that we now try to track, how many Liberians are being hired. Maybe on a monthly basis, we'll be able to get those reports, and then maybe on a quarterly basis, we want to know how many of the companies, how many Liberians are being hired by these concession areas. Take for example, between February and now, Meta Steel hired a total of 463 Liberians between February and September. That's a good news. It means the government is creating jobs for Liberians. This is just a sample of one company. We think this is happening across the country right now, because we've been very stringent in granting work permit. We want to be very careful. We want to make sure that now, to have a regular work permit through the Ministry of Labor, we are requiring these companies to publicize the job. That job should be publicized in the newspaper for 30 days. And you have to announce that also on radio. And we have seen most of these publications. So citizens who are looking for jobs, you have to also read the newspapers. We're encouraging companies to advertise jobs. The advertisement is meant for Liberians to apply for these jobs, so that you can be a part of the job market. You are part of the job market already, but want you to work. But you don't sit down. The ministry will not come to you and grab you to say, okay, they're giving you a job. We're giving this information so that you go out, you read the newspaper every day and see who is advertising job and where the job is being, where that company is located, so that you can apply. If you also want to reach at the Ministry of Labor, we have an employment bureau. You bring your resume there, we'll put in our database. So companies that if they want to employ, they want to hire people, they contact us. We also will share your resume with them. If you're qualified, you get a job for them. So the opportunities are there, and we want to encourage Liberians to take advantage of this. Because the president has been very concerned about employment for Liberians. And the way we can do it for the Ministry of Labor is to look at all of these opportunities in an organized way. For example, we ask people to advertise jobs. It means one Liberian to also apply. So if you are qualified, you will be hired. Okay, so this is important, and I think we're getting some good feedback. I hope that continues, and everyone want the number to grow. We hope that the next time we're here, we'll tell you about employment opportunity for other companies. For example, Seti Brothers, Beer Mountain, Firestone. These places we're talking to them to make sure that their emphasis now should change. Instead of bringing people into the country, let them try to now hire Liberians. And there are certain jobs now that we want to make sure that we discourage our businesses here from bringing people from overseas. Take for example, at the Meta Steel AML, they have the catering services in the hands of companies from South Africa. We have ordered the revocation of all the work permits for that company, because ATS. And Meta Steel has asked us for a period between now and December to transition to Liberian caterers. So we hope that they will make the pronouncement, they will put the advertisement up, and Liberians who have restaurants and things like that should take advantage and apply for it. And on yesterday, we also made another decision. There is Firestone has they have a place where you got they have a catering services in Firestone, and that is being run by a Lebanese national called Mr. Kali. We ordered the cancellation of Mr. Kali work permit yesterday. That for you to run a canteen in a company in Liberia, for Firestone, especially that has been in Liberia so long, to say that they cannot find Liberians to run a canteen, we will not allow that. We canceled that German work permit yesterday. So I hope we're advising to advertise that facility so that Liberians can apply to get a job. There's certain job that we can't just sit and allow people to allow foreigners to come and do it right here. Something like catering, something like running a canteen. Because there are not too many foreign workers in Firestone anyway. The bulk of the workers there are Liberian, black people. So why bring somebody else to come run canteen? Except local Liberians to do that. So we are looking around the country, and where we see opportunities for Liberians, we definitely not hesitate to. And sometimes we allow even sometimes people give us a call or doing or foreigner doing certain job. You give her a call, we follow those information up. We follow those information. And if you can remember, a few months ago, I was driving from neighbor someplace, and I saw a Chinese guy holding flag, trying to direct vehicle. I stopped and told him to give the flag to a Liberian. And I told, we want to discourage that as much as possible. We're not trying to cheat anybody. We're not trying to discourage anybody from bringing people to Liberia, but bring essential workers. Bring that is the law. That is the law. But if we discover that, if we are able to slip people in, and we find out later on, we'll take the action, the appropriate action, to make sure that we make the necessary correction. So today, these were the basic things we wanted to talk about. We told you about the adjustment in the fee for alien work permit. We followed that. We informed you about the success of our vacation job this year, and we also have the number of students that benefited from those jobs, vacation jobs. So again, we always want to thank the Ministry of Information for always making this platform available. A lot of the things that we say here have to do with government policy, have to do with the policies of the arrest agenda. And when it comes to employment, the president sleeps with this thing every day. Let's find a job for Liberians, and we are working towards that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Let's listen to our guests. The Minister of Information spoke on a wide range of issues. The officer in charge of PEO was very specific. Yeah. Good afternoon, sir. My name is Charles Johnson from the PLPC. My question is to the LDE. I heard your boss, you spoke a lot about activities there, but I visited that place once during the time of the construction. I did not hear any speak of the facility of the drug enforcement agency, criminal office. That place for me, it doesn't look secure because if it's sitting there in the community, it doesn't look fine for me as a drug enforcement agency to be situated in such area. So if you just take that, then you go to waste as a weapon to
Thank you. My name is Makoto, and I report from this side of the year. So let me start with Mr. Brian. Yeah, Mr. Brian. We talk about fighting drugs. Well, despite the establishment of the sector of competing and fighting drugs, I visited places in your country and also around the street. The young people down there are into other things. They're saying that the issue of fighting drugs, you have to make sure to fight drugs. So there should be a first priority, first place for it. So the thing is, let me ask a question. The thing is, how are you fighting drugs? If these young people are still there in the trenches and you have not done anything according to them, so how are you fighting drugs? And let me ask my question is what do you and your team take to do with the ongoing education? Limit yourself at and I report for Kita 26.5. How is the office addressing the issues to full network that are lack of internet connectivity in the job because I went intensively in the fat funding mission to even see my report having this.
Thanks, my name is Desmond Wayne. I report of University of Houston. Concern goes to the Ministry of Labor, Mr. Kokora. How is inspections done at the ministry? Because it has been alleged that the Inspector General, Charles Dabo, conducts inspection nearly every day, every week. One of the groups serving also as expediter for these foreign businesses taking their money in terms of rewarding them work permits. So how is inspection done? Does it carry your approval? And how often it is done?
Good afternoon. My name is Christopher Desmond, and I report for Intel Liberia. So the Honorable YC of the LDA concern have been drawn to the recent media report on DN News involving your two officers at our agency. That's Officer Aaron Kazon and Officer Bali B. Kumar. Can you clearly clarify to us the basis of ordering Agent Aaron Kazon to step aside from the position of the Special Drug Squad, and what criteria did you use to determine the legitimacy of Agent Bali B. Kumar of that particular entity? Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. My name is George Salif, and I report for Quality Newspaper, Quality Television. My question goes to the Minister of Labor, Councillor Brown. So, a couple of days ago, that's Tuesday, a group at the ministry were alleging that you gave a blessing to one Papa Camara of Trust Service Company. Can you speak to that? Thank you. That's perfect. After the minister Harrison started, after the minister Harrison started a report for that TV. My question goes to the LDA leadership. They announced that agent of the LDA will be tested. So if they are tested, if the result comes out positive, what will you should do? Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. My name is Jackson Shepherd. I report for Senti. So my question goes to the most of the county, superintendent. So superintendent, you spoke well, excellent well. Thank you very much. Then my question is, what have you been doing over the period of time, especially when it comes to our county development force? How have you been using it? Because you just let us know that most of the business areas, most of the institutions in most of the county have not been committed financially to the county. The county haven't gotten a fair share, as you put it. So what have you been doing with the county development funds? And the second thing is, what is your relationship with the couples?
The CDA.
Welcome, my name is Darius When I'm coach from UCB. My question is directed at the Minister of Information. Quite recently, we saw in the news that there was a reduction in the price of rice and flour as well. So my concern is, how is the government planning to make sure that there is no fluctuation in the price of rice and flour? The thing is, how is the government ensuring that the price of rice will be stable, will not go up, it will continue to come down? What are the government putting in place? Thank you.
I'm Lawrence David, and I report for marketing. My question goes to the Ministry of Information and Specific. Most of the time, to be specific, when the government was launching the town hall, that is, let us talk cake, you said something in our quote. You said, we are having a major program at the time where I'm not happy because my best team in the world at this past away is defeated. Today, the Lone Star is playing Alicia, and the government spoke, and you spoke for the government in this city. And what have you decided on that?
Well, not passion level.
So he's the officer in charge of the LDEA. So he's the deputy for administration, to be correct, of the LDEA.
Today make us like 4 days at the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, and we are trying to work on a relocation of the area because it's very, very small for us. You can have about 400 to 500 workers in a small building, people maybe all around the building. So pretty soon we are making the negotiation, and if all goes well, we will let you know publicly through the Ministry of Information. 2, we are carrying on vetting there because it forms part of our responsibility. You cannot get somebody that is working in the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency that will be like you are not a high school graduate. There's a criteria that you got to follow. You must be a high school graduate, you must have wired, and be a sound educational person. That means you should be educated to do it, because you can be taking statements from suspects and all that, and you don't know how to read and write. So once we finish with the vetting process, those who are not eligible to that, I can assure you that we'll have to weed them out. Chad, you talked about 2 officers, the Aaron Carson issue and Valley Provan issue. Now, probably people getting in misconstrued and misinformation going around the country. I'm seeing all on Facebook that Aaron Carson has been removed because he has been 14 drugs, this one, and the new team removing. I want to tell you clearly, Mr. Minister, Aaron Carson was never employed by the Ministry of the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. The team that was there, hired there to be carrying on operations, is not on the LDA payroll. It's not, gainfully employed within the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency. And we know by law, what is not done at all is not done the right way. So we said, who was in the position? Validator was in, Proman was in this position. When the previous administration went there, they removed it from them. There is someone who have been trained in drug and narcotics. They removed him and brought their own person and put him there. We are saying, no, it was wrong. So you step out the person that was there because you are not the employee. How do you get weapons to carry uniform? And ladies and gentlemen of the president, is one of the meetings we want to stress out this morning or this afternoon. Most of the people you see in DEA uniform are not DEA officers. Pretty soon after the vetting, we're going to come up with a new
finishing our MICAT. The total workforce of DEAs is between 400 to 600. Most of them, they drop commanders, will go and recruit their own people to come, and those are the people that cause the problem within the institution, which is wrong. And we are going to weed them out. So let it be clear. You cannot be running on national responsibility and you get aid that they call action agent. Now, the man is not on payroll, he's not employed. When the information comes out, we're going to arrest this person before you can say, hey, DA come in before you get it, you finish losing your target. So, we, for the intelligence background investigation, we make sure we have already abolished that action agent program. It's not effective and it is not concise. So you're going to hear more noise. All the people put the action agent down. If you are not employed, you are not on DEA payroll, we will not allow you to carry DEA uniform. You also talked about the agents to be tested for drugs. As a matter of fact, as soon as we enter the building, there's an NGO that is always conducting the drug test. We call them Mr. Minister Yokem. Your test will all before we enter your building. And when we went through the test, the three all passed successfully, and 75 other persons within the DEA came and took the test on the spot, and all of them passed. And we're going to make sure we will compare everybody mandatory. All those that are working with drugs and substances will be tested 24 hours. And if you get any problem that you see them misbehaving or doing anything unethical, you can call the DEA office. We're going to set up a hotline that you can call us directly so we can take prompt action. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think the first concern was how are we involved in the project interest? I think that was the premise of our conversation when we started. We are a member of the multi-sectoral committee on drugs and substance abuse, and within our technical document, our roadmap for the project against drugs, we have individual institutional responsibilities. Part of our responsibility as local government structure is to provide the committee with structures or even land where they need it, so that we're able to construct or run rehabilitation centers for our affected youth. We too have the DEA they have the enforcement power. Our responsibility also, what we are involved with, is to work with community leaders and residents of the communities to create more awareness and the danger of the drugs and substance abuse. The second concern was road network and internet. You know, there are things in government, national government and local government, there are things that we can swiftly handle, and there are other things that we cannot handle at local government structure until national government comes in. So for internet connectivity, we were able to have conversation. Absolutely, there was no internet service in Bento. When we took over, we have to move to Orange Liberia. They had conversation with Orange Liberia. And Orange Liberia condition was to give them a spot to build a station. We did give them a spot. They built us quickly what they call internet booster, something temporary. So right now in Bento, there is effective internet connectivity for Orange Liberia. We are also giving them another place right adjacent administrative building where they are now building the main structure so that they can provide and make the services more efficient and effective. We commenced conversation with MTN, Lone Star, and Lone Star that by the end of next week we will conclude that conversation with Lone Star, and Lone Star also will begin the construction of their tower in Bento. It is not just about Bento. We intend to expand that in rural part of Toki and also Kingsbury and Chisholm for other places where there's difficulties. Roads network. After I've touched it for them, I saw a piece of sheet where I made quickly. The government of Liberia have been hoping and searching for an economic corridor that will bypass the congested rail land market or the rail land market district. We have discovered that. We have had conversation with the Ministry of Public Works and other national actors to make use of that corridor. The corridor that will bypass the whole of Red Lake Market District is that when you take your truck, the continuous trucks from Freeport or the industrial area, is to get it through. And they open up the road, and listen, the minister, they open up that road to the 4 lane. You can get your continuous through Corway. And then you find yourself straight in Louisiana, and then you next in Pueblo. From Pueblo, you can Cruiserville, through Bento, and Carricksburg, you go. So all these things about Red Light Market, Kubachop Market, Minga Market, you bypass that whole thing, and you now go on with your film. That is the shortest and the most accessible, that will be the most accessible economic corridor. And we will appeal to you, all of you in the media, to help us flag that. The road is very deplorable. I have formed my own committee, it's so everybody serious. I have formed my own committee with the Ministry of Youth and Sport. Youth and Sport is currently rehabilitating the youth camp in Bento to be able to move some of our affected youth who are affected with drugs abuse there. So they also are on their own committee, and the Ministry of Health is also building a very big mental home rehabilitation center too, and even intend to move the TB annex there. We have said that we're going to include even the police on that committee, because we just gave the police over 75 acres of land that they're going to move the police training academy in police academy there. So we're going to form a team, and that team is going to move to public works and make an appeal for that road to be done. What have we been doing with county development fund? All counties get two set of funds. Until we can start the revenue sharing, currently there are only 2 sets of funds. You got this county development fund, which is flat rate. The county big, the county small, the county capital 186,000, period. And that 186,000 comes in the last quarter of the year. When we see and we do not get administrative support, administrative fund from anywhere. So we receive only 1 county development fund, and that was 2024. And whatever we receive as a county, you receive it just at the point that you are into the county meet. And the county meet is not optional. You say most of the people won't participate, no, you must participate. So you'll be able to allot money from that 186,000 for county meet. And when we took over with our neck being choked with debt. And we try to clear out some of these areas so that we'll be able to get a comfortable area. The last concern was relationship with the caucus. Excellent. Very excellent. Don't forget that I am the president representative in this country, the vice chair of the president, the legislative caucus represents the legislature. So when we have some disagreement, it hasn't been working together. No. We are working together very, very well. As a matter of fact, I am now, it's the only project that we have in the county is the project that we are doing on behalf of a lawmaker. So Everett Arrest I've asked the county administration as part of his legislative project for the county to supervise and do his project. So the project is right now at the Topman campus where we are being a public library. So the caucus and the county administration and the county council, excellent work relationship. Thank you so much.
There were 2 questions for the Ministry of Labor. The first one was the RG, whether we do inspection anytime, any day. The answer is no. As a matter of fact, we're doing inspections that are supposed to be done on a quarterly basis. The 3rd quarterly inspection has just been concluded, and we do not expect that the inspectors will go out on the field until the next schedule comes up. And maybe as a further decision to make sure that this is done orderly, when the next section for inspection comes up, we want to have this announced on radio. And we announce that because it's important. We have received several complaints. There could be one of those that some of our inspectors will go to people's homes, grab people's passport or their ID cards. This is wrong. We do not expect that inspectors will go to people's home without any such warrant. And you cannot go to carry out inspection on your own without communication. For example, whenever we are sending inspectors in the county, we'll do a letter to the county administration. A copy will be served on the joint security in the county so that they will know that our inspectors are there officially. Anything that is done without communication or letter under the signature of the Minister of Labor in any other county will be illegal. Although we have residents, county commissioners, and then they do their regular work, but when it comes to enforcement, it has to be done under authorization from the office of the minister. That is important. So on the question of the RG, if he is doing any inspection right now, anywhere, which is not authorized, that will be wrong. And if a proper information is brought to us, we will deal with it, we investigate that thoroughly. The other question had to do with Papa Kamara, which had to do with the workers of one of the factory around here, which my deputy for manpower is handling that matter for having to answer that question.
Okay, good afternoon. Let me just go straight to the point. I think there was a misunderstanding between the workers and the leadership or the management of the National Brewery. And the name Papa Kamara, he is the owner or the manager for Trust Services. Trust Services is an employment and manpower agency for this company. So let me just explain how it works. When there are large companies, you have huge employment. To not go through all the HR issues, employment, doing all those things, you hire an agency that will do all those things and just present you with qualified candidates for your employment. So this is the services that Trust Services is having with National Brewery. And they had something called CBA, the Collective Bargaining Agreement. It's we have the Decent Work Act, but there are benefits that you might not find in the Decent Work Act. We use the Collective Bargaining Agreement to aid the workers to get more benefit for their work. So that was signed this year, and according to the workers, they said that the management violated their right in that collective bargaining agreement, and they had time to protest. So this is where the ministry came in. And I don't know why we are jumping the guns, because 3 o'clock today, we are going to be coming out with a final decision on the ongoing situation with the National Brewery and Papa Kamara or Trust Services. That is so far what we can tell you. By 3 o'clock, we will be able to handle and update you people on these issues. Thank you.
The controversial Larry Dippy from Ghana FM. Thank you for reminding me that I don't start playing today. But you see what happened? I listened to all the radio stations yesterday, even listened to the Congo show. Everything they were talking about, don't start playing Tunisia. So in my mind, we had adequate communication already about the game. But saying you want to hear a MICAT press conference, don't start playing Tunisia today, yeah? I hope that is okay. Because you see the example, so you try to say, you say, well, Barcelona lost. Who's saying lost here? Why you want to compare the team? I think I can't complain when we lost. Chief, when I spoke, I said, the president has issued a directive. The Ministry of Commerce has indicated that they will enforce the directive, and that there could be some consequences for those who will stand in the way of the full execution of the directive. So your question is, how do we do to reduce it, whether it remain there? Whatever the prices are now is consistent with what the price is currently. And your question whether we remain there at all times, we keep it there at all times, a question that we can say yes or no to. Because you see, we don't produce rice. These are the gasoline we have. There are things that business people are bringing in the country to sell. So sometimes the price on the global market goes up. Sometimes it comes down. The current price level is based on where it is now. Take for example, tomorrow global price is increased by certain dollars. Then we have to adjust consistent with how the business will make profit. Okay, that government will bring in the rest and selling it. But as far as the current situation is concerned, that's the price. And the business people will have to abide by the mandate that has been issued. And for those who will try to veer off along those lines, they will have some consequences to face. I think those are the two questions you asked me. If you didn't bring a copy, you have released this second edition of the magazine.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you can copy it. So we're running the New Liberia newspaper, we're running the New Liberia magazine, which comes up quarterly. The first edition was launched. The second one is out. It's purely on government's fight against corruption, profiling all the anti-corruption entities in the work they do. We just, without wasting time, going straight into the third edition, which is focused primarily on the government developmental gains. We're using many fronts to tell the story. We're also doing the second edition of the government town hall. I think, what time is it? Next week, Friday. It's going to take place in Sanikule. And the key presenter will be the Honorable Vice President, Honorable Jeremiah Cohn. We are contacting a number of land ministers who will escort the Vice President, sectorial leaders, so that they can compliment him during that town hall. By the way, a letter coming is supposed to be one of those, since that's your county to lead the Vice President there. So we're using many fronts to tell the government story. Most cases not supported. The magazine that let's talk about the town hall, there's no government funding for it. So we have to find a way to do what we are put here to do. And we're doing all these things alongside what you see unfolding here at the ministry with the refurbishment of this old Asian and decadent building that we inherited, which we are committed to transform into what we want it to be. If you don't have the comfort of living in a dirty home to your house, you should not have that same comfort living in a dirty office, because your office is like your home. And the way you treat your home is how you should treat your office. For us, it's a question of legacy. You see, when the bishop say we're lazy, we're selfish with this, well, I'm lazy, man, I can't hear in 1 year time, you're going to change me a little bit. Let's be fair, man. Let's be honest in this conversation. The church leader pray for us. You know, criticize real issues that are taking place. I would not be divine rest or going up on here and bring TV behind me and say, can't show you that living for us. So because you're not seeing it, I mean. You know, a person can walk in my office there every day and say, Minister, I got a problem. I don't pay rent yet. I want school fee. And we go against our way to do it. They just blind one come and say they put me selfish. Okay. I want to test a generosity, so maybe I will pass through a church one day and say, we should have broke. I mean, Nico, and see what are you doing. Go with me, you generous. So when I go ask you, give it to me. You know, so Bishop is a good friend, but I think he's shifting too much off the radar, because don't forget now, these are the same people who were some of them were criticizing Georgia here. They were vague and said, when you're criticizing me, you're down. I'm wondering what legacy he left behind as president of the Liberia Council of Churches. Because they evaluated everybody who comes to public office. How did he leave? I want to know the legacy he left as president of the Council of Churches. If anything, I think he left the council so fragmented, so in disarray. Interestingly, I haven't, maybe some of you who are hurrying up and come help me. All the fighting the problem during the Bible, the Methodist Church, the most Sunday, the fighting, I hear with your brand or nothing about him. Church of God is in crisis. The attention is now on it. We're talking about how people mean, lazy, and selfish. Well, thank you.
So we'd like to wrap up on this live. You just listened to the Minister of Information, Cherolimic Pia, concluding. Either you heard voices of Minister Cooper, W. Crow, Superintendent Warwick Bryant, and the Deputy for Administration of the LPEA. So my name is Haji Masali. I want to say thanks so much for watching Spoon TV.